please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
24 hours after the Unique Identification Authority announced a new virtual ID to act as a firewall for the Aadhaar system, opposition parties are stepping up the pressure. Former Finance Minister and senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram has tweeted, and I quote, "Under compulsion, millions of persons have already shared their Aadhaar number with many service providers. The new security layer is like locking the stable after the horses have bolted," end of quote. But the architect of Aadhaar, Nandan Nilekani, has hit back at all the criticism. He has said that the Aadhaar is here to stay and has even alleged that there is an orchestrated campaign to malign the unique ID. And in an exclusive interview, the CEO of the UIDAI, Ajay Bhushan Pandey, defends the virtual ID, calling it Aadhaar 2.0. Listen in.
Let me first explain to you. This virtual ID is like your camouflage Aadhaar number. Because if you are going somewhere and if you want to prove your identity, then you give your Aadhaar number and then you are asked to give either the biometrics or if you are entering into some online, you want to prove your identity online, then you enter Aadhaar number and then you get an OTP on your Aadhaar linked mobile number. So what used to happen is that there are many people who used to feel that their Aadhaar number I have maintained that it is not a secret information, it is a personally sensitive information, just like your mobile number or your bank account number. The question was that can we make this personally sensitive information, which is not a secret information, even then can we make this the further secure? And for that purpose we have added one more layer on the Aadhaar number itself. So, and on this, we were working for last 1.5 years. This whole concept is not that it has come just overnight. We were working for the last 1.5 years, and this is the biggest innovation done since 2010. Ever since we launched Aadhaar project. So this is after 2010.
So it's like an upgrade.
Complete. I mean, it's like a Aadhaar 2.0. This is the kind of feature that has come. So what will happen with the virtual ID is, let's say you have Aadhaar number, and you go to our portal, and you the first time you enter your Aadhaar number, and then because our portal, so we will maintain so what we will do is that on the portal you enter Aadhaar number and then we'll send an OTP on your registered mobile, and then you can generate a 16-digit virtual ID number. Now that becomes your alias Aadhaar number. Now wherever, if you have to authenticate yourself either through your biometric or through the OTP or through your iris or whatever manner, there in place of Aadhaar number you can use your virtual ID, right? And then give your virtual ID, give your fingerprint, and then your authentication is done. So the agency which is requiring your authentication, for example, let's say you have gone to a telecom company for getting a SIM card, or if you have gone to a telecom company for verifying your mobile number, or if you have gone to a bank and you want to verify your bank account, then you don't have to give your Aadhaar number. You say that I have a virtual ID, and you give virtual ID and give your fingerprint, and Aadhaar system will know that this virtual ID belongs to this person. That is number one. One more thing that I would like to clarify, this virtual ID is changeable. You can change any number of times. I mean, let's say you generate a virtual ID and you use it, and then next hour
How many times can I use one virtual ID?
First of all, any number of times till you change it. It's like your password. The password is valid till you change this.
Okay.
Well, that's the UIDAI CEO saying that the virtual identity makes the Aadhaar system even more robust. But our big exclusive from the GST space tonight, the GST Council member from Goa, Movin Godinho, has confirmed the CNBC TV18 news break on simplifying GST returns. In an exclusive conversation with me earlier today, Godinho said that there was a need to simplify the return filing process, and he hinted that 3 return filing forms that currently exist, that's GSTR 1, 2 and 3, could in fact be clubbed into one. Remember, we at CNBC TV18 were the first to report that the GST Council could take up a proposal to club GST returns into one at its next meeting scheduled for the 18th of January.
Now, most of the people in the council also feel that there should be as much simplification as possible so that it is not a burden on the trader or the businessman to comply anything. And for that matter, having three GSTR 1, 2, 3, it was always difficult, especially since we have moved to the electronic filing.
Okay. So you are confirming then the CNBC TV18 news break that there is a possibility that we could see GSTR 1, 2 and 3 being combined into one comprehensive form?
Though it is in the advanced stages of discussion to sort of implement it, ultimate decision-making body, as you know, is the GST Council members, where people from all the states are there. They also have to give their final say, and ultimately, since every decision has been taken by consensus, I cannot say beforehand that yes, it will be implemented from the 18th meeting. But it is our thinking, and we want these things to move fast. So come 18th, then you will know how fast we have moved on this particular aspect.
So we could see the GSTR forms being clubbed into one. That is a matter under consideration, a final call on the 18th of January. TCS kicking off the third quarter earnings season, and it was largely a stable performance for the IT bellwether, which managed to meet street expectations on most parameters. Remember, Q3 is traditionally soft for information technology companies because of festival holidays and furloughs. While TCS profit up 1.3% compared to Q2, revenue was up by 1.2%. Again, quarter on quarter, in line with expectations. The big surprise coming in from the retail segment, which bounced back with a growth of 6.4%. Kritika here with us. Kritika, so the report card for TCS in Q3.
Okay, so here are the top takeaways that you need to remember from the TCS numbers. First, there was a sense that things are improving in terms of the demand environment versus last year, but the management remained guarded to not give any clear guidance. But yes, there seems to be an improvement comparatively. So, for instance, if you look at the dollar revenue growth, it's in line. There is a beat on the constant currency growth with a 1.3% growth. And remember, it is a seasonally weak quarter, so we weren't expecting any fireworks, and there are no fireworks, but there are no major misses as well. Margin expansion roughly in line, but we need to wait and watch out to see how they're able to expand their margins. They have been able to expand a little bit by about 20 basis points with an operational efficiency correction, and again no contribution there as far as the currency movement is concerned. Volume growth at 1.6%, but it has been in the 1.3 to 1.6% range, so we would wait to see when it crosses that 2% line at least. Retail has bounced back this time around with a 6% plus growth, which is a big positive in a seasonally weak quarter, and in a year's time they are expecting it to touch double-digit growth in terms of annual contribution. However, BFS recovery still unclear. Rajesh Gopinathan has said that it will take a few more quarters. They could see some kind of back-ended recovery coming in. No clarity on when. North America growth still muted at 1.5%. Again, some more quarters to see some kind of an uptick there. However, digital growth has come in at 13.9%. The fact that it is a double-digit growth this time, last time it was about 7 to 8%, is definitely a positive. And they have signed 3 significant deals, Rolls-Royce, Marks & Spencer, and a deal with Nielsen, which have a large digital contribution. The Nielsen deal, for instance, is a 2.2 billion reported amount, which is expected to be one of the largest deals signed ever by an IT company. They didn't give an exact contribution, but the fact that these large deals are coming in means that there is some improvement around the corner. Listen to what the management had to say.
Overall business confidence across many verticals is continuing to be improving. If you look at retail, this holiday season actually saw many of the more traditional retailers leverage the power of digital to really establish very strong growth. So we saw companies like Home Depot, Best Buy, all of them come out with sterling results. So you see more traditional companies leverage technology to deliver performance, and that is quite positive and encouraging.
So that was a snapshot of TCS's third quarter earnings, pretty much meeting what the street was expecting. Moving on now, market regulator SEBI has banned all firms in the Pricewaterhouse network from auditing listed companies for the next 2 years, and what could easily go down as one of the most stringent orders passed by any regulator against one of the big four auditors. SEBI, in an order that was released late last night, said that it had found PwC guilty in the Satyam scam. And it's not just an audit ban on Pricewaterhouse. Remember, PwC Bangalore and its two erstwhile partners, S. Gopalakrishnan and Srinivasan Talluri, who had certified Satyam's audit reports way back in 2000-2008 period, have now been directed to jointly disgorge over the 1,300 crore rupees along with interest. They have to pay the amount within the next 45 days. For more, Yash Jain joins in, who's been poring over the SEBI order. Yash, take us through the key takeaways, the highlights from the SEBI order.
Well, it was a strongly worded 108-page SEBI order where market regulator established the role of Pricewaterhouse, the partnership firm of PwC in India, in concealing the 8,000 crore Satyam scam. And if you go through this particular order and go through the charges which have been leveled against PwC, these charges essentially move around four most important points. The first, where SEBI says that PwC did not play its role when it comes to having an external check as far as two things are concerned. The first one is the bank balance statements, and the second one is the fixed deposit receipts or FDRs of Satyam. Essentially, SEBI says that PwC relied entirely on the data which was provided to it by Satyam, and it did not take any efforts in terms of confirming and cross-checking this particular data with the various banks. This essentially gave Satyam an opportunity to inflate and overstate its financials. SEBI also says that PwC did not play its right role when it comes to having a proper check, when it comes to having a proper monitoring as far as the trade receipts, the TDS certificates as well as the invoices are concerned. And this essentially gave Satyam a chance to generate more than 7,500 fake invoices and shore up its revenue. It also gave Satyam to inflate its TDS certificates and hence take income tax exemptions from the government. Essentially, it's a very detailed order coming from the market regulator SEBI, of course coming with the headline that PwC has been barred from conducting audits of listed companies in India for a period of 2 years. And of course, there is a disgorgement order of 13 crore in the form of a penalty amount which will have to be paid by PwC along with two chartered accountants which were PwC affiliated.
All right, indeed, a significant order. Yes, thanks for joining in with those details. Let's slip into a break now. News and updates continue. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back onto a consumer interest story now. If you live in Karnataka, your taxi rides are likely to get expensive pretty much soon. In a new notification by the state's transport department, the government has introduced new rates for taxis in the state. Rukmani Rao spoke with commuters in Bengaluru and tried to find out how will this affect their commuting on a daily basis. Let's find out.
The Karnataka State Transport Department has brought out a new notification notifying a new set of fares for cabs that operate in Karnataka. In fact, the Transport Department has categorized cabs operating depending on the worth of the car. In fact, these rates have been categorized into 4 different categories, where cars under the rate of 5 lakhs will charge about 44 rupees for the first kilometers, and thereafter anywhere between 11 to 22 for the subsequent kilometers that you charge. And also for high-end cars which are valued over 16 lakh rupees, you'd be paying a minimum of 80, and thereafter anywhere between 20 to 45 for the next kilometer that you would be riding on these cars. I caught up with a few of fellow Bangaloreans to find out what they feel about this new notification, and this is what they had to say.
To be honest, I already think twice about how much I'm going to be spending, because Ubers and Ola drivers usually find a way of kind of misusing the system, right? They're, in spite of there being a minimum regulation, they always try and find a way of how to get the surge pricing going, or how to earn more money, right, at the end of the day from consumers.
I think the first thing that's going to happen is the short commutes where, you have the option to use Ola and Uber, that will go away, right? People, the general consumer will have to go back to autos.
While Uber has welcomed this move by the State Transport Department, Ola has said that they're still evaluating how this order will affect. But however, the bottom line is Bengalurians and other people who are living in urban areas like Mysore, Mangalore will definitely be shelling out more for the next ride. In Bengaluru, Rukmini Rao, CNBC TV18.
Well, that's a ground report from Bangalore. On to an exclusive now from Deal Street. Earlier this week, we told you about the market buzz that IDFC Bank and Capital First have initiated merger talks. Now, sources familiar with the developments are telling us that these negotiations may actually be in the final stages. Now, Capital First, just moments ago, they've also issued a response. Let's go to Lata Venkatesh, who has the very latest. So, Lata, IDFC Shriram merger could not go through. Can this go through? Take us through what you know.
Well, it was on Monday that we broke the story that there is probably some exploratory talks that are happening. And we reached out to both of them. At that time, we got a very curt denial from both of them. But there is a history to this event. On the one hand, Rajiv Lal, the CEO, MD and CEO of IDFC Bank, had told us on the record on November 14th, after the Shriram merger fell through, that they are open to inorganic growth and they are looking for inorganic growth, open to every opportunity, and they are having talks with series of entities. On the other hand, V. Vaidyanathan, the executive chairman of Capital First, has told us in the past that his desire is to convert into a bank. So, this is in the public space, these two separate statements. And although we got a denial, our sources were good enough on Monday when we broke this story. And today, of course, talk of the deal got heated up, and our story today is that the deal may happen sooner rather than later, and that it's possible that Mr. Vaidyanathan would be heading the merged entity. Again, we reached out to both of them. IDFC Bank gave us a clear statement saying that we do not comment on market speculation, and that statement will run for you. We now have a response from Capital First, and I'll read it out to you. Talks are, in response to the story, talks at initial stage. We would like to clarify that the company evaluates various opportunities on a continuous basis, and the company, as a matter of policy, does not comment on market speculation. So, it rings in my ears that IndusInd said the same thing when we had approached them repeatedly about their interest in buying out Bharat Financial, saying that we are continuously evaluating various opportunities. So, if that words are echoing in your ears, then this reply from Capital First also says that they are evaluating opportunities on a continuous basis. So it doesn't sound like an outright denial. Yes, there are opportunities, but it is not as if they seem to be close to fruition. Their answer is, does not comment on speculation. And the next sentence, as the date of this email, the company confirms there is nothing which requires disclosure under SEBI rules as amended from time to time. So that's important, that it is not an outright denial. They are saying that they evaluate various opportunities, and separately, Mr. Rajiv Lal has said that they are looking for inorganic growth opportunities. It does look from the sources that we spoke with, both our colleagues Abhishek Kothari and Nisha Podar separately had sources telling us earlier today that this may happen sooner than the market is perhaps prepared for, probably in a few days. That is the expectation.
All right, let's watch out if that does indeed go through. As you said, there is a rationale clearly with this. IDFC will be able to expand its retail footprint. The deal could go through in the next few days. Lata Venkatesh, appreciate you joining us. 2017 was not an easy year for the Indian real estate. That's the word coming in from the global consultancy firm Knight Frank. But CNBC TV18 Jude Sanith and Kevin Lee say that while the report highlights problems arising from demonetization and a new regulator in the form of RERA, it also points to a silver lining, at least for home buyers. Find out.
Launches, sales and inventory overhang. 2017 saw every single one of these parameters in the red as the Indian real estate sector ended the year on a sour note. But even as some top residential markets continue to stay gloomy, the lone silver lining is the fact that unsold inventory has shrunk by a very healthy 19%.
One big reason for this, according to global consultancy firm Knight Frank, is that builders have slammed the brakes on new launches, specifically when it comes to residential projects. New residential launches in 2017 were down a staggering 70% from the peaks of 2010. The National Capital Region saw a 56% fall in new launches compared to last year. New launches in Mumbai fell 32%, and both Hyderabad and Chennai recorded an over 85% drop in new launches from their peaks in 2012 and 2011.
Launches have to come back because I think minimum volume of supply is required for any industry for sustenance. That has not been there.
But what's really worrying, says Knight Frank, is that sales figures have been a big letdown. Sales in the NCR are down 6% over 2017. The island city has seen only a modest 3% growth in sales, and even Bengaluru, which is normally a very resilient market, has seen a whopping 26% drop in sales. Builders blame the new real estate regulatory environment for this decline in both sales and new launches.
There is a lot of prudence that builders will work with right now, given the fact that RERA, etc., has also come into the market, and the buyers are also more watchful of what how they get into projects.
It's not all bad news for the real estate sector, however. A silver lining has been that prices across the top 8 markets have fallen, and also the gap between supply and demand is being bridged because of the fall in launches. And that's been good news for home buyers. So has the advent of the new regulator, and the fact that the government's push on the affordable housing front, coupled with cheaper home loans, will leave the customer spoiled for choice. However, this may not be great news for builders and developers who are anxiously trying to get rid of inventory in the toughest market India has seen in a decade. With Jude Sanit in Chennai, in Mumbai, Kevin Lee.
Well, in fact, earlier today I spoke with Hardeep Puri, the Urban Development Minister, who believes that 2018 will be a much better year for the real estate market compared to what it was in 2017. With that, we're going to wrap up this edition of What's Hot. Many thanks for watching, but stay tuned. Markets Today, Talkback will take the action forward, and we'll be back in half an hour with India Business Hour. Goodbye.